to have at the back of your mind. And lastly, which is very, very important to me and to you as well, I want you to be present in this session. I want you to know that this is not just a regular conversation. This affects us all directly or indirectly. So it's not just another conversation, it's something that is very dear to our hearts. So be present. Don't just be here to mark attendance. Be here to learn, unlearn, relearn. We're here to forgive ourselves for being too hard. We're here to forgive our parents for, for those that parents have taken advantage of our goodness and our emotions. We're here to forgive ourselves basically. So that is why we are here. All right. If there are any more, what's it called now? Details I would like to share, I will do that. But because of time, we would introduce our guest. His name is Emmanuel Abang. He's my pastor. I love him very much. And I'm really very, very privileged and grateful that he accepted to do this for us and with us. And he's someone I know that can relate and is very relatable. So that's why the first time I thought about this topic, he was the first one that came to my head. And I'm glad to join us. So good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Can you all hear me?
Perfect. Yes, sir.
Okay, just in case, because I'm using my headphones and sometimes these headphones could be funny, but I'm glad to be here. So, yeah, thank you for having me, Choma. I'm glad to be here.
Sir. All right. So just before we get into it, please, everybody, your mic's muted. Thank you very much. If your friend is yet to join, you can send the link to your friend because we're starting right now. So, sir, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
I don't even know how to start, but just a quick intro. Just a quick intro about myself. My name is Emmanuel Abang. I'm currently based in Dallas, Texas, USA. I also happen to be a pastor of a thriving church here. And I also have a 9 to 5 that makes me work in the tech space. And just a bit about myself. I have been pastoring for over a decade now. Like I said, I'm based in the US. I also been privileged to work for very top companies like Facebook, Eventbrite, Wells Fargo, some of the top companies that you probably are very familiar with. And I guess the most common one is Facebook. I spent some time there at Facebook working on different products there as well. And so when Choma reached out to me regarding this topic, it was something that I can relate to it because one, I am an immigrant, first generation immigrant here in the US. I'm also a citizen here as well. And then of course, I have parents, I have family. I'm based in Nigeria. So it felt very relatable to me when she reached out to, really talk about the concept of black tax and, basically how to how do you call it, navigate this conversation. So I'm super glad to be here as well. Before we move further, Choma, maybe do you have I don't know, maybe an intro you want to make, or like would you want me to just pour my heart immediately? Yeah.
Well, I wanted, so initially I wanted to more like have a dialogue, ask the questions and all, but I don't want to restrict or more like, confine you in a space. So pour your heart, sir. Enjoy.
Okay. So the concept of black tax, is something that would keep happening for a very long time. But just for definition's sake, what is black tax? Black tax is, an informal term that is used to describe the financial responsibility placed on individuals, especially Black professionals, Black immigrants, to support extended family or community. And so this is not, when we use the word tax, we're not talking about something that has to do with the government. It's more something that is more social cultural and is more like an economic expectations. And so what this really looks like in real life is and I know we call it black tax, but I'm based in the US, and US is a country that is built on immigration. even though right now the government is trying to play hard. But the country, basically was based, on immigration. No one is truly an American except the Red Indians, because Europeans came here eons ago to, take on this new civilization, chased out the Red Indians and all of that. So you don't just have Africans or people of black origin here in Africa, in America. You also have a lot of Mexicans, you have lots of people from South America and all of that. So this concept of black tax, even though in this context we are talking about black, but by my experience, I've seen that it also touches other cultures as well. For
Mm.
example, um, I worked at MoneyGram, which is my most recent role. I just changed companies recently, but MoneyGram was my most recent role. And as you all know, MoneyGram Western Union, I was a director of global transfers. And what I've observed is that this culture is not just particular to Africa. In fact, the largest corridor is US Mexico, second by US India, third US Argentina. I think Nigeria is like fifth or sixth. So there are a lot of people and cultures that encourage this, what they call black tax, right? So you have people sending money back home, which in itself is not wrong. But the reason I'm saying that is I'm not just speaking from one who, is, sends money back home, or someone who has expectations from family back home, but I'm also speaking as someone who has worked in the industry that powers black tax,
Mm.
especially for immigrants, right? But something to also say, black tax is only not only for immigrants, it's also for people who are even in Nigeria or in Africa, living in Africa. So someone moves from the village or from a rural area to the city and is trying to make ends meet and is living life, trying to sort out themselves, maybe just had a big break or had a good job. The black tax also applied to them as well, because there is this expectation. So in essence, black tax is a concept that originates from our culture, especially for cultures that are very family oriented. So this goes beyond Africa, it goes to Latinos, it goes to Indians as well, right? Just in case this video gets across to audiences beyond the African scope. So they should also know that this applies to them. What does this really look like in real life? So this looks like sending money to your parents monthly. This
Mm.
looks like paying siblings school fees. Does that sound familiar, guys? This sounds
Absolutely.
like covering medical bills for relatives. This looks like supporting extended family during emergencies. And in fact, this one is funny, funding community or cultural obligations. So you hear that someone's uncle is about to be a chief, and they're going to call you to contribute to his chieftaincy ceremony, right? And like I mentioned, where is this common? It's common in African countries, African diaspora, Latino diaspora, and immigrants households globally. So these are different sectors. Now, I don't just want to speak from one angle, because there's always two sides to every coin. Um, so I'm going to start with the positives of it, because it's also important. Do you know that global remittance, that means, and I'm speaking as people, someone that stays abroad,
Yeah.
global remittance in the past 20 years has sent over $1.2 trillion to Africa in the past 20 years. So whether we like it or not, especially for diaspora communities and immigrants, sending money back home is one of the ways that powers economic growth for developing countries. That's very true. Now, there's this latest trend. How many of you have heard of Dirty December in Lagos? It's
Mm-hmm.
become a global phenomenon. Now, if you read last year's Lagos GDP, and fact check me, I can't remember exactly, but the amount that went around, that was spent in Lagos alone last year was upwards of $20 million
Yes, sir.
just in December. Now, you see that will also impact clubs, restaurants, hotels. It's going to also provide ways for people to, get jobs, contracts, and things like that. So there is the positive side to this black tax concept, right? And it's also
Mm.
important to recognize that. One, it enhances strong family support, something that is very important. Two, like I just mentioned, it has its economical value, not just to families, but to countries as well. Um, it uplifts families out of poverty, right? I know people who one of their siblings travels abroad, or one of them is in the city, gets an oil job, what we call blues, and then their family suddenly is out of poverty. And that becomes a positive thing. And then it also helps to build generational wealth in some cases, right? Um, that's something that's very important. And then the last part I want to mention is the spiritual part. The Bible says, honor thy father and thy mother so that thy days shall be long. One of
Mm-hmm.
the ways you honor someone is gifts. You give to them, right? So it's
Yeah.
very important as well. And there's the spiritual blessings that comes with helping your parents, supporting family, just being a giver. In fact, you know what the Bible says about not taking care of your family? And this has
Mm.
to do with the nuclear family, not extended, right? But it's still judged with the family, where the Bible says a man that cannot take care of his family, he says, is worse than an infidel. In fact, the Bible went further to say he has denied the faith. Think about that. That means he's not a Christian. So this is saying a man who is married, has kids, has the means to, and is not taking care of his wife, his kids. The Bible says he has denied the faith. And I can actually also extend that as well to say, if you're a man of resource, that resource should also extend to a part of your family as well. So I want to make that clear that there's a blessing to it. There's a blessing to it. Um, but we also have to realize that there's always two sides to a coin, and there has to be a key balance in this.
Mm.
So I've talked about the positives, and trust me, I'm speaking as one who does this, but I also encourage people to create the balance. So let's go to the other side of the coin. There are two concepts that I would use to explain this to you that would hit home. Number one is what is called the crab culture.
Mm.
How many of you know what the animal called crab? The crab, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you take 12 crabs, right, and put it inside a maybe a big bowl or a big basket, whatever it is, and you leave them for 24 days, you will discover that not one crab will come out of that bucket. Why?
Mm.
Because there's a concept just from the behavior of crabs that crabs would not allow another crab to go out. Once it's about to go out, it will just carry that his claw and pull down one. So this is a mindset where people pull down others when they try to succeed or are in the process of succeeding. So it's almost like if I can't have it, neither should you. So
Mm.
basically, you see people who, let me give you a very simple illustration. A guy comes from a very poor background, and God willing, he was able to go to school. Now, the other positive, and I'll say these things also stems from the government. And someone might say, why do you say so? In a country like America, education is free till secondary school. I'm talking because we're Africans, high school. So right before college, you don't need to pay a dime to go to school. So now what happens is a family can have five siblings and they say, like, you know what, we cannot send everybody to school. You go and learn a trade, you go and learn a trade. We'll send two people to school or one person to school. So there's already this community that expectation that, oh, we all sent you to school. So now that you're done with school, you must pay us back.
Mm.
So there's already an obligation unconsciously that, oh, we trained you to school. But imagine a country like America, which there I'll also tell you there are negative impacts to that as well. Because people don't feel obligated to anyone. But in a country like America, where till I'm 18, my parents did not pay a dime to take me to school. Think about it. And then I get a scholarship to go to college. So throughout my education, no parents sent to give me money to school. And then the system supports you that you can be in college and you're working. So you can even be paying your accommodation and things like that. So sometimes you don't need family support to go through school here in
Mm.
developed countries. And this is because the government has created systems. Now, you might say, how does this connect? Because for such a person, nobody in his family can say, hey, we trained you to school. You must now come and take care of us. So some of these things too is a failure of our government, especially in developing countries that send their kids abroad and create systems that keep people in poverty. But that's a conversation for another day. But that's just the truth. So someone can go from A to B to C, graduate high school, go to college, and their parents will not spend a dime. Because, like I said, my kids are here in America. I won't pay a dime till they graduate from high school at the least. So even the pressure to take your children through school is basic. Every child should graduate from high school in America. So because of that, there's this expectation. Now we sent you to school. You got a good job in the bank. Now you're making 200,000 naira a month. Now everybody wants to survive on that 200,000. And now when you don't send money back home, it's like, oh, you're being wicked. And so there's a there is already a broken system in our culture that must be addressed. Let me also tell you why this black tax is also every one of us on this call is guilty of it. Can I ask you a question? If your elder sister or younger brother becomes the governor of your state today, tell me none of you here will not expect to get a contract for them. See? Everyone here is going to expect something, even Choma, even me, because there is this fundamental ideology that is broken in the fabrics of our system. I was a lecturer. Thank you, David Ben, for being honest. But that's wrong in itself because already that feeds into corruption. We say Nigeria is corrupt, but the truth is that almost every Nigerian is corrupt. So why would you expect your brother to give you contract because you're his brother, not on merit? Me, who is even saying it, I might even expect my sister to give me a contract. Now, maybe things are different now because maybe there are certain skills I have now that I feel can qualify me for the contract. But the issue with Nigeria, and don't get me wrong, in America, people do favors for their friends, for their families. But at the end of the day, they still make sure that the job is done. In Nigeria, you give someone a contract, they don't even do it. So this issue of black tax already originates from a broken, fractured mindset. I was teaching many years ago in a primary school in Nigeria. I was a primary school teacher. This is 2013. In front of our school was the personal house of a senator. Every day, if nobody comes to see him, at least 70 people stand outside his gate. How will he
Mm.
not steal money? How will he not steal money? Think about it. But at the same time, if the government had created infrastructure jobs, they won't come from the village to look for him. So everything still stems back to a system that we have created on ourselves. But like I said, politics out of this is a bigger conversation. Now that we are here, how do you deal with black tax expectation? I talked about the crap culture. If you're not careful, that person gets a bank job, and after 15 years working in the bank, he can have nothing to show for it. And if,
Mm.
if God forbid he loses his job, he's back to where everybody is, square one. So at the end of the day, that crap culture happens. How many of you have ever taken a flight here before? And on the flight, you hear an announcement. This is my second illustration. It says, in case of emergency, the oxygen mask will come down. If you're with a child, put the oxygen mask on you first before you put the oxygen mask on your child. Don't they know that you love your child so much?
Mm.
Why do they have to announce it? Because the natural instinct is that I have two daughters. Oh, they are my heart and joy. If an emergency happened, the first thing I'll do is I want to save my child first. But airline policies has stated that you must save yourself first before you can save others. So no matter how much you love your child, you have to save yourself. Why? Because they discovered that in the case where there's no longer oxygen, in trying to help your child, you might lose oxygen and die, and that child too, because you're not alive to help, would also die. So they're trying to say one person alive is still better. Yes, it's a sad thing, but you have to be alive before you can help your own child. This is your own child. And this principle of the crab culture and the airline aircraft announcement shows us two things. You have to save yourself first. So what I will tell people about black tax is that you must have a budget for giving. Don't be fooled. I'm also a pastor, and I'll say something that many people might be shocked. As a pastor, I believe, and I can say this with authority because I'm not a pastor looking for money. I'm well fed, I have a great job, I'm doing very well. I believe in people paying tithes. Because I feel that based on our covenant with the Lord, you pay your tithes. But after paying your tithes, paying your bills, because bills you have to pay, especially in countries like America, UK. If you don't pay your bills, you're out of your house the next day. You don't even know your landlord. No, you just not everything is online. You don't pay by the third of the next month, your things are out on the fifth. So there's no please help me, give me some time, right? So once you pay your time, you pay your bills. Whatever is left, take out your savings and say, I'm going to give 10% of my earnings towards giving. Have a budget. So let me give you an instance. Let's say you're earning 100,000 a month, naira a month. You pay your bills, and in Nigeria, rent is yearly. So your rent should not hit you by surprise. I'm telling you. So when someone comes and tells me, "Oh, please, I need help for my rent," I say you had 1 year to plan your rent. It's not a surprise. My wife just gave birth. It's not a surprise.
Mm.
You had 9 months. For rent, you had 1 year. You're making 100,000 every month. Divide your rent by 12. Let's say your rent is 500,000. I'm just saying, I'm just giving an instance. Divide 500,000 by 12 is 40,000 a month. After you remove your transport, take your rent and put aside. And this was all making 100K, then you're feeding. You know that, okay, and you must get the house that you can afford.
Oh, yes.
That's another thing. So once you say, this is how much I can afford, you take out your rent, take out your transportation, take out your feeding. Whatever is left is what you can do. You cannot be sending money back home and be borrowing money from people. It's foolishness. Even God will not require you to give to him if you don't have. Think about it. Does God require a newborn baby to give him seed or tithes? No. Where will he get it from? So God is not a tax master. That's the point I'm saying. So I see people would give out their rent. Then when it's time for rent, they will start calling. Please, I need help. I need this. I need that. My question is, rent was not a surprise. So in dealing with black tax, make sure that your basics are covered. And it doesn't make you wicked. That is one. Number two, let's even say you hit it big. Let's even say you hit it big. You're making 5 million naira a month. Bigger trap for you. You think the money cannot finish. Go and find out 60%. Now the number is reducing because people are becoming better. 70% of NBA players, people who play the NBA in basketball, Michael Jordan, them, and the LeBrons and Steph Curry's, or even footballers, 70% of athletes get broke 10 years after retirement. 10 years, go and check it. It might even be less. 10 years, they are flat broke. And these are people that were earning $2 million a year. So some of you might think this blast tax issue is because I'm earning 100K. So it's a mindset. And even the Bible says, if you're not faithful in little, you will not be faithful in much. Because sometimes you hear someone has made $10 million for the past 10 years. So in his career, he made $100 million. And sometimes those athletes, injuries can come and cut your career short. But you hear that someone made $10 million for 10 years and is broke. I'm like, how is that possible? That's because now your uncle wants to start a farm business. It's you he calls. Your sister wants to go for a wedding. Ashwebi is 1 million. People will be living off your lifestyle, living a lifestyle that you can't afford on top of your own dime. It's not, forget it. And don't allow people to guilt trip you. What I tell people is, let's say you even have a big break. What's the probability that you're going to keep that job for in the next 1 year, that they won't sack you? So what I tell people, and it might sound very strict. Let's say, like, when I came to America, I got a very good job in Facebook. I told my family, give me 5 years. I will still be acting like normal. Because if you've not sustained in a particular level of income for 5 years, you can't build your life. You can't change your lifestyle. Because guess what happened? Imagine you were earning 50,000 naira a month. Suddenly, you started making 2 million. Hey, you give testimony in church. In fact, sometimes I don't even feel those testimonies are necessary. I'm a pastor and I'll tell you. Because it now creates an expectations. Now, you're making 2 million a month. Guess what? Your lifestyle changes. You now start eating shawarma every 3 days. Your sister, you start sending. Then 6 months after, follow me now. 6 months after, you lose the job. God forbid. And some people say, don't spiritualize it. Listen, don't spiritualize it. People lose jobs. The devil is not attacking you. Nothing happens. It's life. Amazon, as a big company, sacked 16,000 people in January. Some of them are my friends. It's not the devil. Because sometimes Africa is not Satan. In fact, I know one who lost a job in Amazon. I got a better job with Google. You see the devil that gave them Google. Oh, so life happens. So you get a job of 2 million. You now change your lifestyle. After 6 months, you lose the job. Do you revert back to your lifestyle and fix it? Where do you start from? So there's even a principle where you must live at 30% or 40% of your income. Now, there are also cases where you move to a country and you don't have a very good job, or your job is barely paying the bills and you have little change after. Stop trying to impress anybody that I'm abroad, though, so that they'll say, no, auntie, I don't have. Do you know the average rent of someone staying abroad? Maybe you guys don't know. It's $1,000 to $1,500 a month rent. Now, someone abroad sends you $100. You now say just $100, just 150. Something is wrong with you and whoever does that. So, in America, for example, you must be earning above $3,500 a month to be able to live above the waters. How many people make more than that in America? The average household income in America, not Africa, in the whole of America, is $50,000. The average one, and that is before tax. After tax, that is government tax. After tax, is about 30 something thousand a year. Divided by 12, that's about 2.5. So the average American earns $2,500 to $3,000 a month. If you've paid rent 1.5, you now bought a car because you need to move, and you're paying your car loan maybe 5 to 600. You must do insurance. So your bills in a month, the average American, their bill in a month is 2,000 to 2,005. That is the normal American. You're not extravagant. You're living a very decent life. 2.5. How many people earn more than 2.5 a month? Because that's the reality. We think there's in America, when you move, there's gold on the streets. Now, someone might ask, oh, but I know one person that is in America. He does menial jobs, but he has built a house. How many years did he stay in America before he built that house? He must have lived, worked for 20 years, saved enough money to be come back and thank God for exchange rate with the house. So if you're in that shoe where you're living paycheck to paycheck, and at the end of the month you have $200 left, or you have 50,000 naira left, it is from that money you help. And even from that money, make sure you are saving. It's okay to call your family and say, please. And if you're honest, I know people, and there's an extreme, you have excess. Now imagine you're making $20,000 a month and your bills is 3,000. You have $17,000 that you can save. How about save 15, help people with two at least, because they are extreme stingy people. But I'm saying from the ones you have, there's nothing wrong with telling your parents, your family, please, for the next 2 years, I can't do much. Anytime I can provide, I will send. I've seen people go into prostitution. I've seen people go into drugs. And people go into because they're trying to please family. And even when you hit it, even when you hit it big, make sure you sustain that job for 5 years before you can start splurging. I'm, te- I'm telling you, make sure you've maintained that job, that income for 5 years before you can start doing. I'm saying, even if you suddenly open your eyes and you are playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona, 5 years, don't do anything big for anybody. Just do the basic. Send pocket money, small, small. Have that. Have you not heard of footballers that are broke? Super Eagles footballers that are begging. They played in Europe. So who are you that you're making 1 million naira a month and you think you've arrived? People were earning millions of dollars a year. They are broke. The only thing they have is the house they built. Are you hearing me, guys? So it's okay. I say maintain that job for 5 years, because what that does is that, one, you have created a reserve of savings for 5 years. So by the sixth year, if you're still making that money, you can even call somebody and say, take $10,000. If the job ends that day, you still have a reserve. Don't be quick to change your lifestyle and start changing the amount you give people because you just had a new job. If not, the day you lose that job and you cannot maintain that same amount, you will become the enemy. So I hope I've been able to hit the lesson for you guys.
Yes, sir, you have. There's a question in the chat that says, for those that have already made the mistake of splurging on time, how do you fix that? Oh, there's another one, but let's go with that first one, sir.
You know,
There
the
are
Bible
questions,
has,
sir.
yeah, I'll be answering it. That I actually have a conference today, and because of trauma is special to me, I had to take out time to be here. All right, so I have like 15 minutes. Um, so for someone who has already started, the Bible has answers to everything. The Bible says if you've made a commitment to somebody with your mouth, a promise, it says go back to them and beg them. It says come out of the snare as a bird will force itself from a trap. Go back to them and said, I know that this is it, but things have changed. Can I shock you? Let me shock you to show you the wickedness of people's hearts. Now, I'm not saying you should do this, so just tell those same people that you've lost your job. You see that, I'm telling you, you see that all those love is, someone knows me. And you can't, how do I don't know how to put it. That God elevates you and people start flocking around you, loving you, showing you attention. It's not you, it's what you have. So even with where God has brought me, and there's still much more to go, I'm not carried away by flattery, because all that flattery did not exist when I did not have what I had.
Right.
So go back to them and say, please, I cannot maintain this anymore. Straight up. Daddy, I cannot do this anymore. Things are bit. And you don't owe anybody the explanation. So let's say you started giving your parents 1 million every month. You know what the Bible says? It says a man's life, Jesus was speaking, doesn't consist of the things that he has. That's not what the Bible says. It says a man's life doesn't consist of the abundance of the things that he has. So the key word there was abundance. So the question you ask yourself is, mom and dad, forget eating suya every Friday night. How much can keep you alive for me that you will eat and be alive? That's all I owe you. Also, my friend is doing wedding. They are showing uniform. Mommy, go and use your old clothes or don't go. It is not on you. There's that one. There is no blessing. You will say, oh, I won't be blessed. It's not true. Take care of your parents, but focus on the basic. They are feeding. If God enables you, their accommodation. Like me, I take care of my mom. My parents are separated. My dad is remarried. He has his house fine. My mom, one day I'm going to buy a house. Right now, I pay her rent yearly and I give her monthly feeding. Can I buy my mom a Mercedes Benz today? Yes. But if I buy it, what will I use to invest? Because that's another part I didn't talk about. You need to invest your money for the future. Many of you hear this story. Shino Peters in Nigeria, and if this
Mhm.
video ever sees gets to him, I'm sorry, sir. Shino Peter had 25 million naira in 1990. Jimovia had the same 25 million in 1990. Shino Peters used it to buy houses, buy cars, the Ferraris. He was the Bonner boy, the whiskey of his time. Women, good. Jimovia invested the same amount in Zenith Bank. Many years later, can you compare? Now, Jumovia is at a stage that you can never be poor. There's a height you can go to. Even Satan cannot make you poor. And let me
Mm.
tell you, that's the truth. Even God, I'm telling you, the only thing God will do is to take your life. Look at the rich man. When the Bible says that the man started boasting, I'm so rich, I'm so this. Did God take the wealth from him? No, it was his life. There is a level you'll be so wealthy. If God takes out, that means God will plan well on you. It will be almost hard for you to be poor. You think Jimovia is worth almost $1 billion? Come on. He can buy all of his family members' houses, all of them cars, and he will not even feel it. The issue is, can they wait? Can your family members wait? Can your friends wait? That is always the problem. Now, Shino Peter, I'm sure during his time, they must have called him. You're not a musician. You've blown. You've forgotten your listen. If you are taking half of that money and giving Jimovia and say, add it to you want to start this bank. Do you know what you would have been able to do for your family now? And Shuna Peters is not poor. I'm just saying how much more he could have been. So even those things your family members are wanting you to do, you would eventually do it. God will give you the grace to do it. But you have to invest. There is a money in your life that should be called no-go area, except in a situation of true life and death.
Mm.
Still, even I'm a pastor, even in sowing seed in church, heaven will have to come down for you to touch that money. Because God knows that even the way to build wealth is by saving and investing. Why would God not ask you to sow from the money that you're supposed to use and invest to start a business? It's like I give Trauma $5 million to start a business. Then she will now hear that God said she should sow it out. Well, God has said it, he must provide though. He must. Because we must create this balance. So go back to them and be honest. All right. How does one deal with black tax in the case where the family put all their resources in the child? Good. How can they deal with the duty? I talked about this already. Because in the first place, if the government had done what they're supposed to do, this will not happen. But in this case, you have to be very respectable about it and say, Mommy, Daddy, thank you all for doing what you did. If it is required, say, Mommy, this is how much I earn in a month, 300,000. If you're in another state, for example, right? You need to pay rent. If you're in the same state and you can still be staying with your parents, stay with them to save more money. But if you're in another state, Mommy, this is my rent. How much can I do? You're saying guilt trip. What if you lose that job? Maybe okay, what happens? because you must think long term. Mommy, one day I want to buy you a house. One day, and I'll tease my mom. One day, my mom said she wanted something. You know what I told her? I said, if I give you this thing, this is 25 cement you have taken from the house I want to build from you. She started laughing. It's the truth. So you have to, and you have to do this respectfully, especially if this is your case, Ozioma, and say, please, this is in my heart. I want to buy, these sweet words, I want to buy a house for you. I want to give you guys a life, but I want to build. And they're going to call you stingy. It's okay. But God on your side, this is success doesn't have enemy. If for the first 5 years they don't like you, you're stingy, then one day you just come into the house and give your father a brand new Mercedes. You think you will remember? If you say, I've always known success doesn't have enemies. What you observe is that some people don't do black tax, they don't give family, but they're spending it on women, they're spending it on friends, they are splurging. That's another wickedness. Your mother is in the gene is suffering, cannot eat, but you're flying business class. That's why I say that you must watch your heart there too. Because business class is not a necessity. So you see boys in Lagos driving Mercedes Benz, but their mom is still selling akara on the road. That's where there's now a problem. Because you can take her out of that danger, get a shop for her, but you bought a Mercedes Benz of 40 million, but your mother is selling akara. See, sometimes that balance needs to be, and there's no rule to this. But what I said is, make sure you save. If this changes your financial status, make sure you've stayed in that status for 5 years before you can start doing things for people. Trust me, it's going to work for you. For 5 years, they might not talk to you. Maybe you're giving them 2,000 naira a month and they're expecting 100,000. No problem. The day you start doing it, they will forgive you. Except in the issues of life and death. Oh, mommy needs a surgery of. And to be honest, when it comes to these things, you cannot. Your uncle that has not spoken to you in 20 years, they say he has cancer. Pray for him. Pray for him. God still lives. I'm telling you. In case of priority, rent or surgery of family member, Jessica, you ask this question because you're in Nigeria. That's all I'll tell you. If you're in a country, listen, in America, you pay your rent before the next month. It's monthly, thank God. First of every month, you must pay your rent. They give you 2 days grace. By the 4th, they've given you warning. By the 5th, warning. By 7th, your load is outside. So tell me, what would you do? It answers your question. It answers your question.
Okay. Okay. I think some people are still bringing in their questions, but sir, I know I understand you have to go. So, can we strike a deal? Can we strike a deal? Can I forward you more questions that I get, and then you answer, and I forward the answers to the people that ask?
We can have a part 2.
Okay.
We can have a part 2 same time next week. We can have a part 2 same time next week. For next week's one, everybody turn on your videos, and I'll just come in and you ask questions. Yes. Part 2. Let's do part 2 next week.
Okay, yes. That works perfectly. But thank you so much for joining today. I'll send you all the details for next week, sir.
All right. Thank you, guys. Make sure you are saving. If you're in a situation where you cannot save, trust God to earn more. And, of course, if you can't even save, who are you helping? You can't help anybody. If you're able to save from your earnings, make sure you save and allocate 10% or 5% to give you. Once it finishes, if someone calls you, tell them, I'll put you for next month. It's done. That you, and this is the last thing I'll say, that you can buy something doesn't mean you can afford it.
Hi, my God. Yes, sir.
So let me tell you, today, let me not expose myself, but today I can buy a Mercedes Benz that is
Oh
worth
yes.
100 million today. I can. Can I afford it? No. Because after buying it, is maybe I might eat Gary the next day. I should be able to buy something and still be able to. How many of you have bought something before and you can't sleep because you spent almost
We
that you can buy something doesn't mean you can afford it.
right.
So I can buy a car of 100 million today, but I cannot afford it. I can't. So some of you women, you're wearing your future on your head. You're making 500,000 a month. Good. But you have a hair of 2 million naira. If it's a gift, someone gave it to you, that's fine. But you used your own money, saved and bought hair of 2 million. You're the one taxing yourself. It's not even family again. Right? So thank you guys very much. I'll see you
Thank
guys
you.
next week. 1 p.m. next week. Let's meet. All
All
right.
right, sir. Thank you so much. Bye, sir.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Oh my goodness. I think I think I'm the happiest. I think, oh my God, the takeaways are a lot, a whole lot. If you can drop what you took from this session. You can drop it on the chat. I have a notebook by my side. I've been writing. I think this particular last thing Pastor said for me is what's crowned it all up for me. You can buy something does not mean you can afford it though. I think women are on this table a lot because like as I said, the hair we carry on our heads, you know, and even for the guys, generally, some people want to live in a very aesthetically pleasing environment, you know. You know that you cannot afford this rent in this area. But because it's aesthetically pleasing, what my friends say. I was having this conversation with a friend yesterday, you know, and then because of what people will say, you will now go and shoot yourself and go and rent in a space you cannot afford to renew that rent. That's not wisdom. That's not wisdom. I think another thing that stood out for me. Well, I mean, we're all going to take turns and unmute and say what stood out for us before we go. At least he has promised us that next week, same time, is going to. He said 1 p.m. That's 1 p.m. in the abroad. For Nigerians, is our 7 p.m. So, but another thing that stood out for me is when Pastor said, "Have a money that you call no go area money." I think that's very important. I think that's really important because some situations will you find yourself in a place where you have this guilt trip. Everybody's guilt tripping you, and you go and unlock your your piggy vest, your cowrie wise. You go and unlock it and go and remove money that is supposed to be for something. Just because you want to solve a need that could be solved with or without you. So that really stood out for me again. So, I mean, anybody can unmute and share from their part before we wrap up. If you don't unmute, I'll start calling your names. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I mean this meeting was really insightful, right? So I think what hit me so hard is budgeting. Like I don't know, it just hits me really hard as Pastor was really explaining it. So you can have budgets for like different things. So most of the time we know these things. We know things. But the issue is actually implementing and doing this thing consistently, right? I mean, I'm very sure at the beginning of this year, I had a budgeting plan. Okay, I said savings will be this certain percent of my salary, feeding will be this certain percent of my salary. But in this April, I cannot even remember. God, I cannot even remember the budget plan again. Hey, oh my God. Like, in fact, I'm going back to my budget. Pastor, thank you so much. I'm going back to my budget. So most of the time it's just implementation that is actually right. This thing really hits me hard. Budget. You have to have a percentage of your salary that go to different areas, right, of your life. Savings, the part for family, the part for investments, and just consistently building these habits is, I mean, that just hits me really hard this evening. Thank you so much for this section. I really, really love it.
All right. Thank you so much, Juliet. I'm going to say this. Sorry, Juliet, but I remember at the beginning of the year, Juliet is my flatmate, everybody. So Juliet at the beginning of the year had this app, that she brought up. She was budgeting, she was planning. Oh, her life was so perfect on that app. I don't even think she has opened that app. I don't think she has opened that app in like forever. You needed to see, she was dragging me. Oh, you need to be, it's going to help you. I bought it for this amount. And it's funny because all of us, if not all of us, are on that table. I really, it's very funny now that we're talking about it because, gosh, you needed to see Julia at that period. All right, I'm seeing Mrs. Helen's hand up. Mommy, please, of course, you can unmute yourself. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Chioma, for this wonderful event you convened. I'd
Thank
like to chip in a word or two from my
Okay,
own
ma'am.
end. See, talking about not having unrealistic expectations depends on how we present ourselves too. Just like there are people that have expectations towards us from home in the village or wherever, the same way we have expectations towards those that are abroad. But then, before you can give people the impression to have the expectation about you, what is the kind of lifestyle that you're living? I earn 500,000 and I spend 500,000. No room for savings, no room for investments. When I started my career, I would say I was pretty much like that. Once the salary comes in, there are people that are looking up, you start giving. And of course, it's so very easy to say, oh, if I don't give and the money is in the account, you start feeling guilty. Because many of us go to church and we're made to believe that if you don't give when you have it, it's a sin. Until a colleague now made me understand, yes, it's good to give, but give to yourself first. Love yourself first. Love your
Mm,
neighbor as yourself, not more than yourself. I started this, and I can tell you, even if it's that bottle of Coke that you deny yourself, or one little thing, by the time you gather it together at the end of the year, you'll be surprised at what you can put together. So, in terms of unrealistic expectations, yes, we don't give the impression to people that will make them have such expectations about us. And secondly, no matter how small the salary is, we can save, we can invest. And when you start investing and you see how your money moves in geometric progression, you start asking yourself, why didn't I start this much earlier? I'm not going to advertise for any company here, but there are a lot of even money markets that you can start with just 5,000. And before you know what, you see your money increasing. And once you see it increasing, you want to add more. Before you know what, it is just geometrically increasing. So, my two pennies that I'll give for this now is: first, don't give people the wrong impressions that will make them have unrealistic expectations. And you yourself don't have unrealistic expectations about others. The same way people are looking at us that, oh, this person is living large and so it must be big. And they'll start asking for big things from us. The same way we're looking at those that are out there. And some of us believe that those that are outside the country pick dollars from the road. And so if somebody sends you $20, you're like, only $20 is sent. So thank you very much, Chioma, for this. You called it the black tax, whatsoever English it is called, but it's just there. And it's
thank you.
unfortunate it's everywhere.
Mm,
So be wise. No matter how small the salary is, we can save, we can invest, and we can still live comfortably. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. And meanwhile, Mrs. Ellen is a mentor from a distance for me. She's such an amazing woman. And yes, please, I agree. Save whatever little it is. Savings there. Oh my God. We think it's when we are earning so much. I think it's this year that I've really come to understand savings a lot. Sometimes you feel like you're not even making a lot of money. Transportation alone, won't you reward yourself? Won't you eat the money that you're making? All of those things. But to be very honest, this is you saving yourself for the future, right? So thank you so much, ma'am. I see a hand. Ojema, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much, Choma, for organizing this. Um,
Thank you.
I just wanted to share that, yeah, this conversation was very, very insightful for me. And funny story today, I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw a video, a young black athlete, he just got drafted. I'm not sure what sport, but he got drafted and he was surrounded by his family and they were all decked out, all white. Over 20 people were surrounding this man and he got drafted and everybody was like, oh my God, yeah, we're so happy for this guy. And the first comment I saw was, this guy needs to get a lawyer and a financial advisor ASAP. And I was like, oh yeah, he really does. And until Pastor Emmanuel mentioned that a lot of athletes don't have any money again, and like the gravity of that video just came back to me because some people just think, oh, yeah, I've come into the, and while it's good to provide for your family, it's very, very important as well. But some people think, oh, I've come into money, you know what? I'm gonna do this for everybody. I'm gonna do this for people, but they don't take time to invest in their own selves and their own future. They just think, oh, it's coming in right now, it's not going to finish. And it becomes a sad thing at the end of the day when you see that um they have to start asking people for money and things like that. So invest investing is very, very important, and knowing when and how to draw the line is also very, very critical. So thank you again, Chema, for arranging this, and thank you to Pastor Emmanuel wherever he is right now. Very, very grateful for this, and I pray that God will continue to strengthen you to do things like this. Okay, bye.
Thank Bye. I mean, Pastor Emmanuel is still on the call, and oh my God, I'm so excited for next week. I am, you know. Deny yourself coke. I said that for somebody here because when Mrs. Helling said deny yourself that coke, somebody said I cannot deny myself cocoa in my DM. So deny yourself that coke. Let me not call who you are. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything just before we wrap up? Anybody else? Ben, I would really like you to speak. If you're in a good place, please. Mrs.
All right,
Abiki.
thank you so
Okay,
much.
David, go ahead first.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Thank you, Lady Chioma and Pastor Emmanuel, for this webinar. Really, I would like to say that it was for me. I don't know about others, but it was for me. Really, one of the things that stood out to me when Pastor Emmanuel was speaking was about emotional blackmail, and I feel this is important because after we hear this conversation, or meant we are part of this conversation, then we try to go out to carry out what we just heard today. Everybody sees us as the wicked person in the family, the black sheep of the family. So because of that feeling, or because of the way they would treat us, they might also try to emotionally blackmail us to give into their demands. And that's where the problem is. We are back to square one. We are back to the crap culture where we just keep giving without saving, without investing, and all of that. So it's good for us to be emotionally intelligent, to actually take this decision and stand on it without wavering, without
Right.
caring about what they say or what they think, right? Until we can achieve our goals. Yeah. So thank you so much, man. Thank you for the
Thank
opportunity.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you, David. If you have to be stingy for a while, like Pastor Manuel said, do it. It's for the good of everybody. Let's not be caught in the crab called the way he called it. Not be caught in that web. And there's a saying that goes that if you have five broke friends, you're the sixth person, right? Because it's just a matter of time before you become as broke as those friends that you have. So if you have to deny yourself and deny your family, your friends, relatives, whatever, right? If you have to deny them that pleasure in that space of time, please do that because it's for the good of everybody. It's not it's not wickedness per se. It's for everybody's benefit. Okay, let's take two more people before we wrap up. Anybody? Anybody?
Me. Good
Hi,
evening.
can you hear?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Go ahead.
When Pastor Emmanuel was speaking, I was just laughing. I was just screaming, "Yes, Pastor, go on, Pastor!" Because the Pastor said the fact that you can buy something does not mean you can afford it. My goodness, there are times where you buy something. You know, when we always say, "If I perish, I perish." If I want to,
Oh my God.
if this 100 or if this 5,000 naira is the only money I have right now, I want to eat shawarma, I want to take Fanta. If I perish, I perish. Let me just use it. It's something that happens a lot, and we have to understand that people will always come to ask for one thing or the other. People will always have needs, but where do you draw the line? Where do you balance it? It is very important. The fact that there right now you see on Instagram, you want the aesthetics, you want the very beautiful place, but you cannot afford it. Cut your coat according to your size. It is very important. You're not, some people they just want to please other people. They just want to, they just want to look big in the eyes of other people. Like, I have it all, I'm doing very well for myself. And so you begin to show off, just like Mrs. Helen said, you begin to show off, and then people come ask you for this, and you know that this thing that I'm showing, I don't even have it. The need to show off, the need to make people feel like you're doing so well is more important. Something struck me when Pastor spoke about the guy Shino Peters. He had the same amount of funds with the other guy, but right now it's not as if he's no longer rich, but he does not, he does not have the amount of money the guy has. I mean, look at what Zenny Bank is doing. Look at what the current CEO. Look at what she's doing. I mean, the money that they've gotten is a lot. And then there is Shino Peters. He's no longer as popular as he used to be. So when you have an opportunity, use it properly. When you're earning 1 million naira, it doesn't give you the room to start eating shawarma every day, or start spending, splashing on ladies, doing a lot of things. You see a lot of people they are going to the club every time, and then when it's time to pay your rent, you now start calling your friends, please, oh, my rent. I don't have money. I need money. We need to be wise. God has given us wisdom. I want to believe that we all are Christians. God has given us wisdom, and as such, we need to use this wisdom. We need to use all that God has given unto us. All you need in life is in the word of the Lord, and so use it. Be wise. Don't do past yourself. That is all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I would like to also say this because I understand that a lot of us on here are Christians, if not all of us. Sometimes too, we have to be, what's the word? We have to be smart about these things. We have to, you can't, oh my goodness, I'm trying to frame it in words now. You cannot be wiser than God, right? The Bible says the cattle in 1,000 hills belong to the Lord. So you know that this money, because sometimes we black tax ourselves. I like to put it that way. You know that this money is for a particular project, maybe your school fees, but then you want to go and sow it to the church because the church has a building project. There's no wisdom in that. I'm sorry, this is a personal belief. There's no wisdom in that. And the pastor that is telling you to bring your school fees for such, I don't know. So sometimes we do these black tax things to ourselves, right? And it's not wise. So, like I said earlier, your no-go area money is very important. You have to you have to be very, very careful not to actually touch it. All right. I have two hands up. I'm going to go with Joseph, then I'll come to Lillian, and then we wrap up. Joseph, go ahead, please. Joseph, okay.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you to Pastor that spoke. It was really, really amazing. Everything he said was just right on point. And then thank you also, Miss Choma, for holding this call. So one thing that really stood out for me is just the thing you spoke about, the aspect of sowing into the church and everything. That's just what I wanted to talk about because I don't know, but to me, why still growing up, going to church in school and those stuff. So when they start calling for people to give and the rest of them, I'm like, the amount. Yes, I'm trying to put some money together, but then they talk about the sacrificial giving, giving your all and everything. I'm like, yeah, I see people do it, but if I give this, how am I going to go home? Where am I going? Where am I going to get the next money for what I want to do? Like, yeah, like literally in school, he's a student pastor. I see him, he gives his all, and then he start making calls for money to do things, to run things. I'm like, but this guy is the guy that gave his all. I'm not trying to, make a mockery of him or
Yeah.
that stuff, but gives it all. He was even sharing a testimony that time. A pastor, they were trying to raise money in church for a project and that stuff. Sacrificially, he gave his school fees. Yeah, he gave his school fees, and then the time for exam, he was not trying to call people to raise the money for school fees. So he called the uncle. The uncle shouted at him and later said the money. I like, yeah, that's a great testimony, but man, if you do that kind of a thing, my father will kill me. That's not a thing. So I love when Pastor touched it, because the way they talk about the sacrificial giving and everything just looks as if that if not gotten to the point where literally you can give how do I put it? You can give God literally give God everything to the point that you don't even know where the next food is going to come from. You don't know. Not that you can, but that's everything you have at that moment. So if someone has not got to that point, that person is not serious with Jesus or stuff like that. Yeah, I know that God can, lead somebody to do that kind of giving, but
Okay.
I think there's a condition to it, and there's always a backup plan for such a thing. So that's just what I wanted to point out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's really profound. Let's stop putting God in that situation. So if he doesn't now come through, you say God is not faithful. Let's stop putting God in that situation, really. Right? Let's stop doing that. Okay? I'm not saying there aren't times when you have to, they're just very minimal, very rare situations. So especially for students, or you're struggling, probably they'll go and tell you give your widow's mite. I'm not against it sewing. I'm a Christian. I'm heavy on it. All right. But then they'll tell you widow's mite. You're not gonna carry your saving that you want to give landlord next week. And then when landlord now comes next week, you say, my God is faithful. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it, because like Pastor was like Pastor Bank said, you will see your things outside. And God will still be faithful. Okay? It's not you that will make my God not be faithful. So we have to be wise about things like this. All right, Lillian, you're up next.
Good evening, everybody. Good
Good
afternoon,
evening. Good
wherever
evening.
everyone is connected from. So thank you, Pastor Abang. Thank you, our very beloved host, Shoma. This has been one insightful one. And it's just one thing I want to just say in regards to savings, as Pastor have said. So recently had one investment meeting in the office, and someone mentioned to me, and she said that when you receive your salary, how about you pay yourself, then you save the rest, that every other person will be fine. So let's say you receive 100K and just say, oh, my salary for this month should be a 70,000 instead of 80,000. So instead of just being wasteful, you pay yourself instead of just spending all your salary, spending everything. Because Pastor have said it's that everybody will be fine. Everybody, as they used to say, last, everybody good day, all right. Me,
All
I'm
right.
someone that I don't even know how to say it. I'm someone that me, I like fine things. I want to buy it too, but I can afford it. Thanks be to God. But I can't buy it every time. So I've thought to myself recently, I can't say for other apps, but there's an app I use, Carrywise. I will just go there and lock the money. Because if you're looking at it, if you want to bring it out from that bank, if you see the charges, you say, oh no,
You won't,
every person
I
that
don't
that
know, I'm
you
sorry,
won't
but
you
some
won't
people
your
will not
mind
let you.
your mind go day, as they used to say, ego day, like you won't even touch it. So when you're that disciplined, and I want to advise that we also have accountability partners that can actually help you and can be asking, and thanks be to God for the person I married. He's actually one that has a saving mentality. If I want to say, which one are you saving this month, so you can have your friends or anybody get an app, lock that money, lock it, and by the time you are done, maybe when you want to use it, as Pastor said, a 5-year plan, a no-go area money, have it for that 5 year, and you see that times
Are you?
that's your thing. So thank you, everyone. Let's have a very great mindset after this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, quick exercise. You're going to be available for next week. Let me see an emoji in the chat. Quickly, quickly, quickly. You're available next week. Put something in the chat. We're taking roll call now. I'll not send you link. And it's not going to be this link. Right, right. Okay. Amazing. Amazing. And okay. All right. I think I have great. Okay. A lot of us, if not all of us. Jessica, you have 1 minute remaining before we wrap up. Just go ahead while I take note of this signaling in the chat. Jessica, you can go ahead, please. Oh, I really want you to speak, Jessica. We can't hear you. You are muted if you can hear us. Oh dear. Okay. So I think I don't know what's happening with her network, and I really would love her to speak. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you everybody for signaling. I definitely will send the links to us via email. Okay, Jessica says she has network issues. Okay, we understand. We do understand. All right. Please, public service announcement. I sent mails to everybody on this call. Please don't come and ask me for link again. I will fight everybody. So there is the link in the mail I would send to you again. There's gonna be the link. Somebody's asking, will the recording be sent to us? Okay. If you want the recording, just send me a message. I'll send it to you. I don't want to, encroach into people's space without permission. So if you want the recording, ask me and it will be sent. But thank you everybody that joined this call. You people mean the world to me. Thank you so much for supporting all the time. Thank you so much for I don't know. Some people are still joining. Oh my goodness. Okay. If you just joined us, we're wrapping up. And I love you very much, but we are going. The mantra on this platform is we do not honor lateness. If you know me, that is it. I do not honor lateness. So 7 p.m. is 7 p.m. Next week, it is 7 p.m. on the dot. I opened the chat as early as 6:45, so you can join in. Jessica, are you ready to speak? That's fine if you are. 1 minute. Are you? Okay. Go ahead. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I listened to the message. I listened to the speaker. I think everybody contributed beautifully. But there's just something I want to add. I just want each and every one of us to, like, moving forward, we should ensure that we're not the ones who are, you know, the black taxers, right? Not everybody has this knowledge. There are a lot of us who can better take care of our income, we can better take care of our finances, but if it's someone else who we just want to take and take and take and take and take. So it should be more understanding. We should do to others what we want them to do to us. We should help people. That's just what I am going to contribute. Did you hear me?
I'm struggling. I think
Oh my
everybody
God.
else is. Can you put it in the chat, please?
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. While she does that, I was saying, I will send a link. I will send the link in your mail. I might not be able to be responding to your WhatsApp messages as for links. That's why you have the link in your email. So please do well to check your mails. I mean, most of us are corporate people in here. So check your mails. It's very important. I'm saying this for some people. All right. On that note, I think we would be wrapping up. Yes, recordings will be sent to whoever wants it. And then I'll see us all same time next week, God willing. And I'm hoping by next week, Pastor Abang actually has a conference. So I'm really grateful he took out time for us. I am really grateful because I know that conference is a big one and they are hosting. So you know how tedious it can be. So, but next week is going to have ample time. And when Pastor Adam promises you, yes, he keeps his word. So we're going to be here and come with your questions. You can send it in on time, even before that day, and then we start tackling it from there. Thank you all so much. You are very dear to my heart. You have no idea. I am very grateful for all of you. God will reward you for supporting this small girl. I love you and enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you all next week. Bye.